I'm back, my homies. I've been going through it lately. I didn't post the other day. I came in 2 days ago trying to finish out the endurance program you guys have been seeing if you've been sticking around. And it went so well up until I got to my max peak part of the program. And I definitely have a pattern when it comes to my experience in training where every time I go back to trying out percentage-based lifting, where I limit myself, but I still try to go as hard as I can with the weights that I am scheduled to hit. But every time I schedule a peak day, instead of just doing it when I feel good to do it, man, I bottom out so hard. The other day, when I came in to do it, I just immediately felt my core was gone. I had no stability. I got to the point of attempting 275 snatch, but I barely made 255, and it looked pretty ugly. And it wasn't even close. And after going so hard on snatches, I had nothing left for my clean, so I just threw in the towel and told myself it's not worth getting injured, you know? Because I know the smart way to train. I've come to be good about that. Well, that was sweet. Jesus Christ, I'm getting my ass honked at for just about no fucking reason. Oh, man. But anyway, shit happens. Shit happens. You're never going to be as peaked as you want to be on the days when you want them. And some days you're going to be more peaked than you ever thought you could be. And you can't really pick and choose your battles. You gotta just live in the moment while they're there, you know? Utilize your body to the best of its ability while it's feeling up to do so. And I think that more than that not going well than me having to take an extra rest day because of it, a lot more recently I've been spending a lot more time by myself, a lot more time alone. And a lot of people would look at my lifestyle and think that I'm being stupid because, you know, I go to work almost every day. I see all my work people. I have my fiance at home. I'm still in regular contact, texting some of the homies whenever I need to, calling people whenever I need to. But this is the first time in a long while where I haven't actively tried to make big plans to go out, big plans to hang out with the big groups, the main homies that I want to be going out with. And I always say, you know, on top of needing to meet your needs every day to be comfortable, people need people, you know? That's always going to be something I live and die by, where if you spend long enough by yourself, you'll start deteriorating. And it's been a very odd week or two because I've been feeling this way more so ever since I decided fully that I'm moving back to Florida, which I'm still extremely excited about, but it's far enough away to where I don't really know what to do right now, you know? Because it's not even that I don't have the environment I want to be in. It's not that I'm not progressing in the gym and doing well, even if I'm hitting a bit of a wall right now. I think that it's more so that I'm not really allowing myself to enjoy the time I have had to just myself. You know, I'm so used to being uplifted and supported by people, which is great and something that I need to continue doing. But I've always done it to such a maximum extent. I've always told you guys that I have way more of a social battery based off dependency rather than independency. And it's like, you know, I don't need, you know, the constant social interaction, but it puts me in it consistently boosts my passion brain. You know, it gets the motivation going. But there's another side to it that I want to make sure I also give enough attention. And it's that I know that I'm being social enough in the day. So I think it's more of a fact that I haven't been as good about enjoying myself alone lately, you know? Which is fine, you know, that's something that we all gotta accept and go through when those moments hit, because it's not like I don't have friends, it's not like I don't have great environments or great things I'm working toward. I'm extremely proud of the life I'm living and the lifestyle that I've built around myself. But again, ever since I've decided to move, and everything's felt a bit stagnant. It's I can't really do anything new until we move, and it's hard for me to put myself out there socially and meet new people because we're close enough to moving to where it's hard to make new relationships that I know I'm probably not going to be able to continue when I leave. But I also know that if it were me talking when I'm at my best, I would tell myself it's never too late to meet a great person and make a great relationship and enjoy it for the present moment that it is. Just because you don't have all the time in the world with someone doesn't mean that you shouldn't give it the chance to acknowledge it, and give it that time that it deserves to flourish into something new. So I think that I want to try to get out of my bubble a little bit, in the environments that I can do so in, like at the gym specifically, and reaching out. And I don't even need to hang out with people per se, and that's always great. But again, I see enough people in my personal life, whether at work or at the gym. I think it's more so of I just haven't had as much contact with my people lately, and it's no shame on anybody, and I'm not upset about it personally, but it's been a consistent pattern recently with that. Whenever I hit up the main homies, somebody's always got something going on. And I know we all have crazy lives. Everybody's got work. Everybody's got a lot of shit going on. But it's been a while since I've had, close friends consistently be like, let's hang out, and then drop the ball last second because something comes up pretty consistently. And so I haven't been able to have those normal plans of hanging out like I typically do, but I also haven't been putting myself out there. So I need to make myself hit that middle ground of I need to enjoy the time I have to myself, the time that I have off, the time that I can just flourish on my own, because I need to be okay with being alone to a certain extent. But at the same time, while I'm out and about trying to be productive and passionate, I don't want to just have a day like today where I feel like I have super low energy and I just cut myself off from the rest of the world because I'm not having the best social luck recently. I should put myself out there regardless in those moments when they present themselves. Because going home and beating myself up about not being social enough and making myself try to be social while I'm trying to relax at home just makes me feel worse. I want to enjoy and should enjoy my time at home by myself while I've got it. But while I'm at the gym or at work trying to be as pumping and social as possible, I need to start throwing ideas out there to people. I need to start inviting people out. I need to start just meeting people, just getting to know people better, opening up more to people, just to get that movement happening again. That was one of the best skills I developed moving out of my house when I turned 18, where I got to really know the value of meeting new people and getting to know each individual person by themselves, and getting to feel those relationships out. No matter where you met or how you met, doesn't really matter. It's just, does it work? Can you bond? Can you relate and support and uplift one another? My dad called me at work today. If you guys have been sticking around, he's in prison at the moment, and it's just I don't get to talk too much lately, so I had to walk away. I told everybody, I was like, I need a solid 10-15 minutes. Let me go take this phone call, because those moments I have with him are more rare nowadays because of where he's at, and it got me in my feelings for sure. He's going to be in a consistent mode of struggle for a long while, if I'm being honest with myself. That's just how confinement works. I'm a bit used to the process because I see people in the psych unit, even though it's not nearly as long term, go through the same similar stages of grief, where you spend so much time self-reflecting and being upset at yourself or others that eventually you burn yourself out with how much you run the pity parade and rant, that you have to start thinking about the opposite end of the coin. What's the next step? What can we do right now to get ourselves back on our feet? Because no matter how badly you fucked up or how much you threw away in the process of your fuck up, there's always a way to bounce back. There's always something that you could do right now to keep yourself at the baseline maintained, so that when you get out into the environment that you want or dream to be in, you can actually express yourself to the maximum extent, you know? And truthfully, I don't think my dad's gonna start looking up toward the light until he's halfway done with his sentence, which is another 3 years from now. Jesus. But that's why we're there for each other, you know? And it's the first time in a long while where I had a moment like that and I didn't immediately talk to someone. Nobody right now knows that I had that conversation and how much it affected me personally. You know, I finished my shift, didn't talk a whole lot, got the hell out, went to the gym, put my earbuds in. There was nobody at the gym to talk to for the most part of my typical crew, but I also, again, didn't put myself out there, and I locked myself away from the world for a while, and I got the weights together today. I'm proud of the effort I put in for sure. You know, the 4 attempts at 255 pissed me off a little bit because I'm just weaker right now because the endurance training was fun, but it definitely burned my CNS and joints out way more than I expected it to. I got a bit of the opposite results that I was expecting, but the lightweight got really good. Over time, it became way more of a burnout than a progression in my training. So I'm going to go back to my max out type program where I get to go heavy all the time. Still not sure how it's all going to shape up at the moment, but I feel good. You know, I feel happy and appreciative of the life I have right now. I'm not depressed or anything. I've been depressed before. This isn't it. I've been in my head a lot more than I'm used to, I suppose. I haven't been expressing myself as much lately. So while I need to be okay with giving myself time alone at the house while I have it and accept that, I need to stop, not quote unquote wasting, but, for a better term, not fully utilizing the potential of each social environment that I put myself in. I haven't been that social at the gym. I haven't been that social outside of the gym or at work or whenever I have plans come up. I haven't been reaching out lately. I need to start reaching out more. So I'm going to work on it. It'll be all right. But, at the very least today, I got to get that step toward progression again. I'm not where I was about 2-3 weeks ago. But it's going to come back fast. I know that for a fact. I'm confident in my training. The 255 was a step up of getting confident under heavyweight again. And 315 was a very good weight to hit today on clean and jerk because I knew that I was going to be in for a struggle regardless of how much I wanted it. So that was a really good weight to hit to start with. The fact that I can feel this low energy and not as in it as I normally am, but I'm still just one weight away from hitting my PR lifts. I can definitely run home bragging about that for sure. Physically, it definitely wasn't great, but I'm also comparing to how I was at the peak of the last program and when I was hitting my heavier weights. So I can definitely give myself some good credit where credit is due, where I tried the best I could, and I definitely got the weights up that I don't want to say expected because I don't try to expect weights, but I hit the weights that I really wanted to today. It would have been a perfect world if I hit 275, 345 again, but I have to earn that weight all over. I got to build it back up. It's not going to come in a day, and I got to be okay that this is our first step. So at the very least, the technique was great. I eventually got my shit together on snatch when it came to the heavy stuff. It was just really hard both lifts, it was just really hard to shove my core down under the weight. So I need to get that speed and that confidence in the catch position better. But I can at the very least give it a solid 8.4. It was a good day, and I hit heavy weights that I'm very proud of. I can't not give myself that credit, but the mental part can take you down a lot. You're never going to realize it until that moment where you have to face that harsher mentality that you've been dealing with. But I can definitely, I'm a bit more of I'll give it right in the middle of 7.5. That's the first thing my brain came up with. It's been a while since I've had to confront myself. I love supporting my people, and I love self-reflecting on my daily life, but you get a little used to doing the same thing over and over again. And when you stop putting yourself out there and putting yourself in the environments that you know that you succeed in, it becomes hard to appreciate the motivation and passion and inspiration you've built up for so long, you know? I definitely have been taking my my efforts for granted lately. But regardless, I'm glad I talked about it. I'm glad to be back doing this. It's a great first step. I'm excited to feel this program out even more. It won't be as intensive as the endurance program when it comes to volume, but it also won't be as intensive as the program before that, where I was hitting like 4 PR weights every single day, trying to do every single lift every single day. Tomorrow will be snatches, back squat, and bench press. Just, again, top heavy singles. That's my favorite way to train right now. That's the best way I've been gaining strength and progressing for sure. And then the third day will be clean and jerk, front squat. And I haven't fully decided on the third lift. I decided I wanted to give my power lifts a bit more gaps between each other. And I didn't want to just bench twice in a row, because I just don't like doing the same thing twice back to back, unless I'm doing every single lift evenly. So it's going to be something like push press, military press. I'm not a big fan of military press, but I'm not sure what it'll be yet. You know, I think that I like push press more because it still has that explosive factor that I would do on my bench off my chest. Military press is just so much more static. I think there's more risk of injury there, and the technique won't follow as much suit as I would like it to from that. So we'll feel it out as we go, but I'm good. I'm glad to be back. I needed a moment to get the little shit out. You know, this isn't a big shit. This is more of a little shit. But it's been sitting in the back of my mind for a little too long. So I'm gonna keep putting myself out there. I'm gonna go back to my roots, like when I first went to college, and I used to give myself this personal rule that anytime I go out to the gym, outside of the gym, just wherever, at the bare minimum, talk to one person. And don't just say like, hey, what's up, my name's Jake. Go up and have a fucking conversation, you know, like really dive deep into something that you feel that you can get along with someone with. And if they immediately want to walk away and not talk to you, move on to the next one. But you got to have at least one meaningful conversation before you leave the gym, because that always gets me the most fired up. Just having a raw, positive moment with someone I have no expectations with, no obligations to, and just being able to uplift each other in the moment. That's one of the biggest purposes of the gym in my environment that I've always lived and preached by. Just uplifting each other no matter where we come from, who we are, what we've been through. Just pick each other up. Anyway, thanks for listening to my bullshit. You guys know I got to get to that every now and then, but we're going to bounce back. I think that this is a great first step that's going to flourish into a bigger next step. So I think there's going to be more energy tomorrow now that I've got my stride beginning to pick back up. Let me know how your lifts and lives been going. You know I love hearing about it, and I will be back. I love you guys. I'll see you later. Bye.